Hi everyone, my name is Terri and welcome to my channel, The Pink Dumbbell Problem, and a new episode in my In the Discourse series. In the Discourse is a series I created so that I can talk about the stuff that kind of doesn't exactly fit with my channel, but the themes overlap a little bit. And today I've got a couple of stories for you. Before I get going on those, let me tell you, you want to stay to the very end of this video because I have a couple of special announcements, including a few changes I'm going to be making to this channel. Okay, let's get right into it. First one. This came up several days ago on Twitter. This is a perfect example of what happens when people don't consider representation in putting things together like a conference panel. This is from Dr. Shaheen Khazali. He is a gynecologist and surgeon in the UK, and rightly so, was very pleased to announce that he is presenting as part of a panel at this conference. Just a little something about that panel that's going to be talking all about endometriosis seem a little, maybe a little hinky to you? Have a look. Have a good look. So folks, this is what happens when representation isn't considered in everything. This is probably not anything to do with Dr. Khazali directly. He is somebody appearing on the panel. He's most likely not a direct coordinator of this event. But that being said, it is up to people who appear as panelists and guest speakers at events to question who else is on the panel and why are the people we're talking directly about not represented. And this is not to say that the men on this panel aren't probably the very best surgeons and medical experts on endometriosis. That's also very telling of who gets to be in medical school, who gets to climb the ranks of the medical profession. If there's no women who are high-ranking enough or powerful enough or published enough, publish or perish, to be on this panel, then what the heck is going on in the medical schools and particularly in the gynecology specializations that they don't have any women on this panel? And by the way, I did a whole video a couple of months ago on Representation Matters. I'll pop the link down in the box below. To have a panel about a disease that affects the organs of people who are assigned female at birth, who majority of whom live as women throughout our lives and have to deal with the sexism of the medical industry. Why is there not a single woman on this panel? It's ridiculous. You know what really is weird about this is it's 2022. Like, we've been talking about this stuff for literally decades, and yet here is a very old boys club type of organization that is clueless about it. I'm sorry, that may be harsh to say, but this is blatant cluelessness. Also, this is why you should hire people who have gender studies degrees. People ask me all the time, why do you have a gender studies degree? What are you going to do with that? I'm going to stop companies and organizations from doing stupid stuff like this with it. That's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to bill them handsomely for it. Okay, second story. So a few days ago, a friend approached me online and has recently been kind of making a few posts about how they want to lose a few pounds and things like that. And it turns out somebody they are acquainted with through social media has taken it upon themselves to become this friend's weight loss coach or motivator or something. They are invading my friend's inbox every other day or so, every couple times a week, to ask them, hey, have you lost any weight yet? And I went through weight loss and I lost this much, and I'm doing this and I'm doing that because I've lost weight, thinking that they are motivating my friend. First things first, don't do that. I mean, just don't. It's none of your business. And for some folks, perhaps that is motivating, having somebody check in on you. Maybe that's what worked for this person who's butting into my friend's life. But that definitely doesn't work for everybody, and it's certainly not working for my friend. And if this person knew my friend better, they would realize that and not be pulling this kind of shenanigans. But here's the social media connection besides the fact that we were just typing back and forth in Messenger about this. A couple of memes happened to pop up right around the time I was having this discussion with my friend about how she can talk to this person. And here's the first one. This applies to anything. So when you've got something going on in your life that people are excited because it's going to result in an interesting or a big accomplishment, there's that little bit of curiosity of constantly asking. The problem is that people ask too often. Everybody thinks they're the only person asking, right? And they don't realize that the person they're talking to has had the same question 40 times this week. The other thing is that none of these things happen as fast as the people asking expect them to happen. So it's, again, not any business of anybody else is. So stop asking. If people are ready to tell you when they're finished their PhD, or when they've lost some weight, or when they're getting ready to move, or when they're painting the bathroom, or whatever it is that they're going to do that they've been saying for a while, I got to do this. Wait till they tell you. It's not your place to ask unless you've been asked to provide that level of support. And this person who's bothering my friend was not asked. It's just sometimes a personality trait certain people have. I remember several years ago, 10 years ago now, when I had laser eye surgery, and somebody who was an acquaintance of mine at the time had the same surgery just a few months before me, and she appointed herself my mentor going into this, which was ridiculous. By far not the first eye surgery I've had. And she decided completely without talking to me, I needed her support going into this for some bizarre reason that makes no sense to me. That's because I know me and she doesn't, but she thought she did. And really, ultimately, these things come down to the other person's ego. The person who insisted she was supporting me really just wanted to be a hero. The person who's insisting on supporting my friend who wants to lose a few pounds thinks they're going to be her hero. Yeah, get over yourself, pal. Come on. Eesh. This also popped up kind of somewhat in the same theme, same ballpark. And this is Molly Galbraith, who runs Girls Gone Strong. And this is a nice reminder to people like myself who are fitness professionals and educators that not every woman walking through the door wants to lose weight. I've been pounding that drum for several years. And I tell my student trainers very, very emphatically to not assume that. But there is an assumption that anybody who comes through the gym door is there to lose weight, and they're not there for the other benefits of fitness. And frankly, it's the other benefits of fitness that are the best part. So kudos to Molly for putting that up. Get your nose out of other people's weight loss. It ain't none of your business. Don't make me tell you again. Speaking of which, let's go on to the next story. Okay, now, the final bit that I have to talk about today is a little less related to my channel and a little more related to my past career. And that is this article that came up a few days ago in the New York Times. Ohio makes it easier for teachers to carry guns at school. As some of you know, I was a high school teacher before I got into my work in fitness and adult ed. And I did that work for a couple of years and liked it, but I came into the teaching profession at a time when there was no work, especially in the subject areas that I taught. So I moved on to other things, and well, you know how that turned out, because here we are. And since this story broke, pretty much every aspect of criticizing it you can imagine has been covered. But there is one aspect that I haven't seen, and that's what I want to cover here today. So something else I've also talked a little bit about on this channel, and I will be talking about coming up more in future videos, is that I was born with some visual impairments, a couple of different things, including a condition called strabismus. And because I have strabismus, even though it's been mostly surgically corrected, I cannot be licensed for a firearm. I don't meet the criteria, medically speaking, at least based on what the criteria is here in Canada, that allows me to fire a gun of any kind. I'm just not allowed. My eyesight is great for a lot of things, but firing a gun of any sort is not one of them. So I'm ruled out from having the license to do that, as well as any jobs that are related to requiring a license to do that. To be clear, Ohio is not demanding that teachers carry a gun in school. They are simply removing some of the barriers that have previously been in place. However, and it's a big however, the opportunity is now there to require teachers to be able to do that. And that is a problem with ableism. Once again, I did a video about ableism a few months ago, link in the box below. My eye disease, my vision problem, does not affect in any way, shape, or form my ability to be a good teacher in a classroom. I am perfectly capable of doing that job and plenty of others. But a requirement like this, if it were to become a full requirement, would mean that in that state, if I lived in Ohio, which I don't, and if I were still teaching high school, which I'm not, but if I were, I would have to give up my teacher's license if being licensed to fire a gun was a requirement to teach. Similar to the issue I brought up earlier about all the men on the panel about endometriosis care, this is a similar problem. When you don't have people who understand things like disability at the table where these decisions are made, then people with disabilities get thrown out the proverbial window. Again, this is why representation matters. This is why intersectionality matters. Oh yeah, video about intersectionality. I did one of those too. You know, in the box below. Watch it after this video. So these are all things that come to fruition when people with a very similar scope of the world are the ones making all the decisions. And this is a bad decision anyway. There's no sensible reason why teachers should be carrying guns in school. And as people on Twitter did mention, there's a million ways this can go very, very badly. You know, it's not what teachers are trained for. Like, funny that we didn't cover shooting people in my pedagogy courses in university. Gee, funny, eh? You know, there's a lot of teachers out there wearing glasses. I'm sure I'm not the only person with a teacher's license and strabismus. Even if this isn't a requirement for licensure, that doesn't mean it doesn't become a hiring preference. And it certainly has happened in many schools. I've had it happen here in Canada, of course, where, you know, they're looking to hire somebody who can teach English Lit to the grade 10s, but they really, really want somebody who can coach the girls' volleyball team. So the person who can also coach volleyball is the one who's going to get the job. I could see that being very much the case in a state like this, where it's not required that teachers have a firearms license, but yeah, doesn't that put you a little higher up in the hiring rankings? And as they used to say in the K-Tel record advertisements, but wait, there's more. Thanks to my friend Sam over on Twitter, who posted this picture right here of an article from Rolling Stone where Ohio is not only lifting the restrictions on having guns in schools, they're dropping the requirements from 700 hours to 24 hours in order to get licensed to carry. So they're shrinking the training requirement to 24 hours out of 700? And they think this is going to be good for education. I honestly don't know if I've ever seen something that was more pedagogically unsound in my life. Okay, folks, that's the stories for this week, and on to a couple of announcements. I finally completed and defended successfully my master's thesis in women and gender studies, and some of the stuff you're going to be seeing coming up on the channel in the next several months is going to be more bits of that. I'm coming up soon on my 100th video. This video today is the 91st, so I'm only 9 more videos away, and I'm thinking of something special for the 100th video. I don't know exactly what it is. Tell me your suggestions down below. What sort of clips do you want to see compiled together? Or maybe, I don't know, a topic I haven't covered or something that you want to do for the special 100th video. The other thing is that now that I've finished my master's thesis, I'm going to start shifting this channel towards doing longer pieces, but less frequently. I set myself a goal of doing 100 videos that were going to be the short format, knowing that that would more or less coincide with when I finished my master's thesis and would be able to do longer essay pieces. There'll be more essay style, they'll be longer, and maybe a few more costumes. Instead of every week, I'll probably do every other week or maybe once a month, depending on the length of the video I'm working on at the time. That's not for a while yet. I'm looking at probably late September, early October for that switch over to start. And of course, don't forget to click around below. There's some other videos you can watch. There'll be some cards down here as well for you to click on. And please give this the thumbs up and share this on other social media platforms so your friends see it as well. And hopefully they come over and subscribe too. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, lift heavy, fight the patriarchy. I'll see you for the next one. Bye.